So this week's lab is going to be using Microsoft Excel to do some of our calculations. Some of you are already doing this. Um, I want to show you some more advanced calculations or some more functions so you get some practice. So if you don't have Microsoft Excel, if you go to Google, you can search here. You can see, you can type in free, and it's free for students. You just use your school email and you can get this on your computer, and you get Word and PowerPoint and all that stuff. So there'll be two files with the lab. There's one that's called practice, and you're going to open that and right now, and you're going to use that and work through the examples. Pause the video, work through the examples with me, and then for your lab, you're going to do this 4 times. So you're going to do this with some of the data you entered for your father's height, mother's height, your height, etc. that we did on the survey. This also combines the students from last year, so we had some more data involved in that. So right now, open up the file that says practice. And so I got some data. Several of you are nursing majors, so I found data that showed the average salary of RNs in the United States. And then there's some, like Guam is on here and Puerto Rico as well. So you can look through that if you want to. But I'm going to show you how to do calculations on Excel, and I think you're going to really like how easy it is. So you click in the cell. These are the things we're going to find. And whenever you're doing a formula in Excel, you type in the word, they type in equals sign, and it tells that you're doing some kind of formula. Okay, and so there are different. If you start typing, it will tell you kind of what you need to have. So mean is also the average. So if I want to find the average, I type in average parentheses, and then I'm going to highlight starting at B2, and I'm going to go all the way to the last one, which is B55. And if you notice it's up here, you can also type that in with a colon. We'll be using that list. And so it found the average salary just like that. And then if I want to find the minimum salary, let's hope it's not Indiana. It says returns the smallest number in a set of data values. You can highlight everything again, or you can type in B2, E55. Notice I'm not doing anything with column A. Those are just labels. And so quartile, exclusive, inclusive, we're going to do inclusive. And it says array. That's my B2 to B55. And I want the first quartile, the 25th percentile. And then the median, there is a built-in median function, B2 to B55, quartile 3. Since I used inclusive, I'm going to do that again. So B2, B55. This time I'm going to type in 3, and you can see it shows you that the third quartile is the 75th percentile. Second quartile is really the same as the median. And max. So then I want to find the standard deviation. So that tells me the average value which the mean differs. So there's all kinds of standard deviations. This is the population. This is all the states and territories. So I'm going to pick population. And it says number 1, number 2, etc. So that's my B2, B55. There's also a standard deviation that is called a sample. That's if you are finding the standard deviation of a sample and you don't know the population. It's kind of, statisticians get really particular about that. We're not going to as much. And N is the number of values, which is also called the count. So B2, B55. You notice there's 54 because it's District of Columbia, Guam, etc. Okay, so all those calculations are really fast. So you could find the interquartile range if you we're asked that. There's not a function for that I know of, but I can subtract the upper quartile. So if I click on that, it says that's in F7 minus F5. And so there's the interquartile range. So you can do all kinds of, anytime you want to, if you want to just use this as a calculator, you can add things, subtract things. Okay, so the last thing you're going to do here, and some of you already know how to do this from the other video, is you're going to make a histogram. And so I'm going to highlight all of the data values. And I'm going to go to Insert, and there's all these recommended charts. If you just click on chart, it'll come up all, but you can see there's a histogram right there. Okay, and so it gives you, it picks values that are most appropriate for this, but we want to change, let's change the bin. So I double click on that, and you notice you can, it does it automatically. It made the bin widths be 11,000, but so if I wanted to change something, I could make the bin widths be by 10,000, and it would update my graph. You can see how it changed there. Or I could double click again, and I could say I want to have 7 bins, and then let the computer figure out what the widths of each of the bins would be. So anything you want to change for the axis, you double click, and then sometimes you have to go over here and change it. I don't even know what all these different options are, but there's different. You can have an overflow bin for the extras, underflow bin. So you can see this data. You can, if you scroll over the top of each of these, it says there's 1 value there, there's 20 values there, 18, 9, etc. So that's a way you can kind of use that to make your frequency table without, you can kind of go backwards, make your histogram, and then make a frequency table from it. So I'm going to go back to, I'm going to make 7, I'm going to make bin widths be 10,000 because I like that. And it automatically change it to 8 bins. So I can see, in the 64,940 to 74,940, that's the mode. I actually use this to find the mode. That's the modal interval. There's 21 states that are between basically 65 and 75,000. And so you can also edit the title here if you want to. Call it RN salary by state. And then generally, if you right click or Apple people, if you push 2 buttons, you can do different labels and that sort of thing. But you don't need to do that. That's not something. I'm more concerned that you can do the calculations. Okay, so what you're going to do, you're going to have a 4 data sets, and you're going to take and find this information for all 4 of them. It's way down here. So you're going to make a histogram and find this data for all 4 lists of data so you can compare them later. And we may use those later on with some of our other stat functions. Okay, and so you're not going to turn in an Excel file. You're going to take and snip this information into a Word document and print it as a PDF, or just turn it in as a Word document. So again, if you haven't used the snipping tool, you have it on your computer already. And you can just take and copy this and paste it into a document that you want to upload. Okay, so that takes you through each of those calculations. You're going to be doing that for your lab with these 4 values. So you don't have as many data values, um, which doesn't affect anything except maybe the histogram won't have as many values in it. Let me know if you have any questions. You can also find lots of YouTube videos showing you how to do these different things.